And as tensions ratchet up in the Middle East, President Trump is in Canada participating in the G7 summit with several of the world's largest economies. For more on this, let's go to White House reporter Aaron Navarro. And Aaron, thank you very much for joining us. The latest round of nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran, they were called off over the weekend as a result of the violence. But now U.S. officials are saying that President Trump will not sign a G7 statement on Iran. So where do things stand on that front, and what happens now? Why is this significant?
Yeah, that G7 statement that you mentioned was a draft statement floating around from those G7 countries in Canada right now that talked about how both Israel and Iran need to protect civilians, talks about monitoring Iran, and re-ups the commitments to peace. U.S. officials have told CBS News that Trump is not signing that document. One official adds that Trump is kind of dedicated and will continue to work towards ensuring Iran cannot obtain a nuclear weapon. And in recent days, President Trump has seemed almost optimistic about a deal between Israel and Iran, but the path on how they get there is still unclear. While at the G7 before his full meeting with Canada's Prime Minister, President Trump was asked if there had been any back-channel communications between the U.S. and Iran trying to send messages about de-escalating the conflict. President Trump responded, yes, there has been, but also criticized Iran and said that they should have been talking more with the U.S., with Israel, during that 60-day window to get a nuclear deal done.
And Aaron, clearly there's a lot going on in the background of the backdrop of the G7 summit. What's at the top of the president's agenda while he's there?
Yeah, certainly Israel and Iran is something that the leaders will discuss, but trade, and specifically the fact that President Trump's, quote, reciprocal tariff plan, the pause that he put on that for about 90 days, that's set to expire on July 9th. He told reporters here at the White House last night there could be a few new trade deals after this G7 summit, but he also said he could just send letters to countries telling them the reciprocal trade rate that they're looking to have, the reciprocal tariff rate. While talking about Canada today, he said that that would be a deal that they could be working on, but said that he has, quote, a tariff concept when it comes to that deal, kind of showing that he is pretty committed to tariffs on Canada, while Prime Minister Carney of Canada has, quote, a different viewpoint on all of that. And one other quick topic that is likely to come up already has the war in Ukraine with Russia. President Trump is expected to have a bilateral meeting at the G7 summit on the sidelines with Ukrainian President Zelensky. At some point this week, he will also talk to Putin. And asked by a reporter today if he believes Russia should have a seat at the table at the G7 today, he said that he's not saying they should at this point because there's, quote, too much water has gone over the dam, but said it was a mistake for the G8 to kick out Russia in 2014.
Plenty more to come. Aaron Navarro, thank you very much.